Is going to be completely about preparation. So, what the four things that you need to be completely aware of before going on a shoot. So, first, charge up. Second, pack up. Third, communicate. And fourth, be punctual. And everybody's probably heard this at least one time in their life. Failing to plan is planning to fail. So, that is something that you should absolutely be aware of. And let's just get right into it. This video is going to be pretty short, but definitely pay attention. Don't skip around. Make sure, as obvious as this seems, just make sure you tune into the whole video. So with that being said, let's get into it. So charge. Nothing is worse than getting onto a shoot and realizing that, oh, I'm at 50% battery, I'm at 45% battery, especially with your gimbal, because when your gimbal gets kind of lower, like in those lower battery areas, um, from my experience, my gimbal hasn't performed as well as it should. So if you charge it up, you can charge it up on the way there if you realize, oh, I didn't charge it up. But avoid this at all costs. Plug your phone in before bed and wake up with a charged phone. If you use it during the day, charge it during the day, maybe on the way there or while you're working or whatever. And yeah, so definitely make sure your phone's charged. And you're probably only going to use your gimbal once or twice throughout the day, so I would charge that overnight too, especially because most gimbals and the DJI Osmo Mobile 6 has USB-C. And from my understanding, there used to be an issue with different types of cables, and overcharging being an issue, and like degrading the battery life. But with USB-C, I'm under the impression that that doesn't happen. So kind of neat. You can leave your gimbal charging however long you want, and it's not supposed to degrade the battery, which is awesome. But yeah, it's just awkward. It's low stress. I've been in one of these situations where I only had one camera battery that day, and my camera battery, was probably at 80 something percent. And I got down to I don't know, I got down to probably almost 20-ish percent. And it's not like I was at risk of it dying, but it's like, that's a very real possibility. So as basic as it sounds, you can avoid so many problems by just making sure everything is 100%. Yeah, you are gonna thank yourself. Let's get into packing. So, and like I said, all of these things are relatively obvious, but it needs to be said, and it can't be understated. Like, the importance really can't be understated. Make sure, double check, triple check that you have your phone, you have your gimbal, and if you're doing a spoken portion, you have your mic, your mic case, and the bag, and maybe the windscreens. Because if you're doing a spoken portion, chances are you're going to be starting outside. If it's windy, you're going to want to make sure you have your entire bag with the windscreen or the wind muffler, whatever it's called, and you can just toss that right on the top for your subject. Or if it's you, you're just going to make sure you're going to be able to do that. So double check, triple check that you have everything before you go. And I always, every time, I'll do this double check and triple check. And before I head out the door, I'm like, okay, bottom line, what are the tools that I need to get this project done? And I need to make sure I know, like I visualize where I put those things. So like, I know I have my phone in my left pocket. I have my gimbal in my backpack. I just zipped it up. So like, it sounds crazy. Again, it sounds crazy, sounds basic, but it really can't be overstated. All right, let's get into communicate. This isn't exactly going to be the case for all situations. If you are a real estate agent, you might just schedule a showing and you'll show up to the property and that'll be that. Like you'll, um, well, I guess that's not the case. You're going to be shooting your own listings. Sorry, I thought of me shooting a property in house for the company that I work for. So you're not going to do that. You are going to. Uh, you're only going to do that if you are a real estate agent and doing it for other people, which you can do. Like that's I've done that and it's worked out really well. But again, you're not going to be scheduling a showing for your own listing. So you're just going to go to your listing and make sure you inform the seller if the seller is still living in the property. If they're living elsewhere, obviously, maybe you still notify them or whatever. But if you're working with someone, so this is maybe if you want to do a spoken portion and you're going to bring your microphones, then you're bringing your microphones because you're maybe meeting another agent there. So this is an idea for you. You could meet another agent at your listing, and maybe you'll get to their listing in just a minute. But you'll mic yourself up, and they'll you'll put your transmitter into your phone on the gimbal, and that other agent will film you, and you'll say, "Hi, welcome to 5190 Bluff Court. This is, my name is Max Crone with Addison Jones. Come on in," something like that. And then at the end, you'll film an outro, and you'll make sure your audio is good and all of that. But then you'll go to their listing, and when you go to their listing, you do the same thing. And if you have the microphones, you can even offer them, "Hey, I'll even provide the microphones." I think they'd appreciate that quite a bit if you provide all the gear, and and you give them such a good opportunity to get some social media content. This could be very beneficial for you and them, but they would be thanking you more than you'd be appreciating them, which is, I guess, if you're playing the value game and being transactional, I guess it's good to have the upper hand with leading with value. Anyway, I'm rambling and digressing way too much from where I wanted to be. So communicate. The realtor that you want to shoot with, or maybe it's a friend who you want to, or you're paying him $25 to be your videographer for the day, or for the hour or two. Just communicate with them, because you don't communicate with them and you expect them to be at the property at this and that time, and maybe the last time you told them was a couple of days ago. Well, you get to that property and they're not there. They're sleeping because they forgot. Remember, this is more important to you than it is to them. They don't care. So, well, I shouldn't say they don't care. Most of the time, they don't care that much. Sometimes they care a little bit. But again, in that situation, it's for you. Make sure you remind them the day before and the day leading up to it. Just making sure they're awake. Maybe you call them, say, "Hey, how's your day going?" Whatever. And just make sure you communicate with them. Okay. All right. And punctuality. This goes with communicate. This really goes with, everything, but punctuality. So this one is, of all things, well, I guess all of them are absolutely crucial. So, okay, I'm just going to get down to it. Be courteous of their time. Don't be a couple minutes late. Don't be 10 minutes, 15 minutes early. Be anywhere from 1 to like 5 minutes early. I know that sounds crazy, but if you're any later, then and they're already there, they're expecting you, if you are working with someone else. So like, let's say it's another realtor, or let's say it's the seller, or let's say it is, a videographer. Just because, you are employing them doesn't mean that you can be like that. That's all the more reason that you have to be early. But this also goes for videographers too. So if you're a videographer making this video for a realtor, you absolutely have to be there in that time frame, because if you're working with someone else, and of course this only really happens if, like, this only applies if you're working with someone else, but if you're doing so and you get there 10 minutes early, 15 minutes early, and let's say they get there 7 minutes early and they ask you how long you've been there, and you say, well, I've been here probably 10 minutes or so, they're going to, it's not that they're going to devalue, well, I guess they are going to devalue your time just a little bit. This is a complete, subconscious thing. But when you get there to that property so early, you are almost expecting to wait all up until the time that the shoot is scheduled. Say the shoot's scheduled at 2:00, you get there at 1:45, and you're waiting around until 2:00 because you guys told each other that you'll meet there at 2, and that was the expectation. And when they say, how long have you been here? And you say, I've been here since probably 1:40, 1:45, something like that. Well, they're going to be like, like, what have you been doing this whole time? This is going to sound crazy, but when people see that you are busy, they're going to kind of rope that into value. Because when you are, when you're busy, when you're doing things, when you are going out and accomplishing things that require your time and effort, chances are you're either doing it for, the benefit of others in some way, or like you're getting paid for it, or there's some sort of value exchange. There's some sort of reason that you needed to be there, and you needed to provide someone with something. So when when you don't have something like that in that 10-15 minutes, then people are going to be like, well, like, you had nothing else better to do than get to the property 15 minutes early. Again, I know it sounds crazy, but it's just human psychology. And I've dealt with that in the past. I've been early to shoots. I've been super early to shoots, and I was just waiting around. And the one exception I will say to this is if you let the realtor know, if you let your videographer know, you let the people in communication that you're in communication with, if you say, hey, I'm going to be a little early, can you meet me out there any earlier? Or are you kind of are you thinking you're going to be on time? That's not like in any way pushy on like trying to get them earlier. That's just saying, hey, I got my stuff done faster than expected, which is also great, and from a psychology standpoint. And they might be able to meet you out there earlier so you can get on with the rest of your day. So that's just some basic things about punctuality. And yeah. All right. Yeah. So let's just recap. So have your gear all charged up, so avoid so many problems, and double check, triple check, and make 100% sure you are not going to forget a single thing before you walk out the door. And also, communication kind of gets roped in that too. So when you are leaving, when you're on your way to that shoot, if you have a long drive, maybe call them. If you haven't, communicated with them for, the earlier part of the day, make sure that you and them are completely on the same page with what you're going to do, when you're going to get there, and everything else. And be punctual and be courteous of people's time. Be there within 1 to 5 minutes of the actual shoot time early, 1 to 5 minutes early of that shoot time. So 2 o'clock shoot, 150 155, anywhere from 155 up until 159 pretty much. So that is the sweet spot. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like, subscribe, all that kind of stuff if you're watching on YouTube. But this is Mobile Video Mastery. It's time to get after it.